Okay, hello everyone. Here we are with the Pathfinder Adventure card game, the second incarnation, and we are going to play the introductory scenario today. So the one that is in the Kickstart guide, and this is a blind playthrough, so I've opened the Open Me First card deck, and here we've got the information. Quick Start Guide is intended to lead new Pathfinder Adventure card game players through an abbreviated version of the Rumbled Road, the first scenario of Dragon's Demand. This guide doesn't restate the rules, rather it points you to the specific sections of the rulebook as needed. When a term is bolded in this guide, you can find out more about it using the rulebook's glossary on page 30. So this is designed for 1 to 4 players. Using the card list on the back of this guide, separate the cards into stacks. Each card type is listed on the upper right corner, a 16 card stack for each character. So we have the characters, and we're going to play with Sione and Amiri. I'm just making that decision for no particular reason other than I like them. So we're going to make Sione's deck first. For this, what does she have? Okay, so Amiri has the battle axe, so she's going to get this. She's got a long spear and a long sword, and a warhammer, and a chain shirt, so that seems to be her. Leather armor, blast stone, a compass, a crowbar, a horse, a soldier, benefaction, horizon, and prayer. She has 2 of those. Okay, so that's good. So that's her deck. Next up is Linny's deck. So we put this to the side. So next up would be Sir John's deck, which we put to the side. And then lastly we have the Quarterstaff, which is Sione's deck. Quarterstaff, deflect, force missile, magic eye, sleep, soothing word, bracers of protection, elixir of energy resistance, guide, sage, teamster, troubadour, incitation twice, and horizon, the blessing. Super cool. So I like how they set up the Get Me Started decks, so that's really cool, really well done, thank you. So you put these aside, so then these are the other characters' cards which we don't need for the moment, like so. Then we've got build the vault. For this adventure introductory scenario, ignore the rules for building the vault on the adventure path guide. Instead, put the 7 cards from the vault stack into the box. Open the storybook to the scenario you're playing. We will be playing the Rumble Road. Okay. Here we are. We have 2 people, so we will be playing with the campsite, the caravan, the trail, and the bridge isn't there. Okay, so we're just going to play... Okay, so this is a really reduced one. Okay, so we just have 3 locations, which is fair enough. Choose your character, blah. Open the storybook, blah. Welcome to Belheim has a list of scenarios to complete, the first of which is number 1 scenario, Rumble Road, the scenario you're about to play. Turn to page 4, decide on the challenge mode. We've done this for you, making us... okay, so you can choose between 3 different scenario challenge levels. You have S, M, and L, I guess. The number of locations you use usually depends on the number of characters you're playing, but the scenario setup instructions say that because it is your first scenario, you'll use the first 3 locations. Put the location cards face up on the table. Build the locations. Each location card has a list of card types that you would usually take from the vault to build the location. In a normal scenario, you'd use the M column to create medium-sized locations, but for this introductory scenario, we will use the S column. Okay, so in the S column, we have 3 monsters for the campsite, 0 monsters for the caravan, and 3 for the trail. We have 0 barriers here. We've got 1 barrier in the caravan site. At the caravan site, that reminds me of my first English lessons. At the caravan site, I was thinking of that earlier today. And then you have 1 barrier here. You've got 1 weapon here, 1 weapon here. So this is like, you know, if you've ever played one of the old ones, then that's the same one. There's 1 spell here. There are 0 spells there. There's 1 armor here. There is 1 item here, and 1 item here, and 1 item here, and there is 1 ally here, and 1 ally here, and 0 allies here, and there is 0 blessings, 1 blessing. Okay, so that's done. Prepare the story banes. These consist of the danger, a card that may come into play in various ways throughout the scenario, the villain. So the danger is rescue. The villain is the big bad. In this case, it's bandits. It's a bandit. His name is Silas Grib. And the henchmen are dire wolves. And we have the proxy A, so we use this twice because we've got 3 locations. Okay. The henchman direwolves is listed with a proxy, a stand-in card that refers back to the card needed to set the direwolves near the dangers. Shuffle together the bandit, the scenario's villain, and the 2 henchmen proxies. Deal 1 of them to each location. Okay, that's fine. So we're just gonna do it like this. And we're just going to put these aside. No idea what is what, so I'm just going to put them like this. Okay, the bandit is now hidden. To win, you will need to find him. However, finding him isn't enough. He will attempt to escape if overwhelmed, so you will also need to corner him by ensuring that he can't escape to an unguarded location. We'll explain that later. Create the hourglass. The hourglass usually contains 13 blessings, but the scenario setup rules say that because this is your first setup, you'll use 12 blessings. 2, 3, are these blessings? No, they're not. Okay, so we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Okay, so we will shuffle them. Okay, so we've got a player reference card, and we've got these yokes, which are allies. I don't know what's the story with them, but we will just put them to the side because they aren't mentioned anywhere. So we're just gonna put this where the omen stack goes, because of course I don't have a special playmat for this. I'm just going to use the playmat that I've got for Apocrypha. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and this is the location trail. This is the caravan. And here we've got the campsite, which is just the one that we're going to go to first, simply because it's got the most monsters, and I do want to see the fighting happening. And it's got no barriers because I hate barriers, and we'll see how barriers fare in this game. So okay, so I'll try and zoom in a little more. Yeah. So, I don't think you can read this, but hey, that's the way it is. Okay, so, hang on, I will try something else to see if this makes any difference. Whoops. Action shot. And everything's moving. Anyone can be Peter Jackson if you move your camera around enough. Oh, okay. And just incidentally, I won't be cutting this out later in post. Okay. I have no idea. Yeah. So, okay. Let's get the party started. So here we have, these are characters that will go away. We've got Amiri. We need to shuffle her deck. She is the tank. She is a D12 in strength. She's just my kind of girl. And we've got Sione. She's a magician, so she's more like the intellectual, I guess, of the two. And we're going to put this here. And now we're going to draw cards. Amiri gets 4 cards. And she gets a blessing and an elixir of energy resistance. And another blessing and braces of protection. Is that her deck? Well, I thought not. Yeah, because she doesn't, that's not her deck. Because I remember the braces of protection are Sione's. Yeah. See? First mistake already made. So let's try this again. She draws 4 cards. And she has a battle axe, a chain shirt, and a horse. And the hand size of Sione is 6, so she draws 6 cards, 3, 6. Now most importantly, the hand size is also the life. If you cannot draw from your hand, sorry, not the hand size, the draw deck is your life. If you can't draw when you are asked to draw, you have an issue. You die. Okay, so you have an issue, you die. Well, it's more than just a little issue. Okay, so we've done this. Oh, these cards are actually quite, they move around a lot. Okay, so we've done that. Position yourselves and choose starting locations. We've done that. Oh, we're supposed to start with the caravan. Oopsie. So we don't get a choice here. They tell us what to do. So. Okay, and there I thought it was a free country. Drawing start hands. Okay, we've done that. What is the favored card of each of these 2 ladies? Her favored card is melee weapon. She's got one, and her favored card is, I can really tell what people meant when they said that the font was terrible. It is terrible. I mean, white on green, and she's got spell. Okay, so that's fine. So they all have what they should have. No, she actually doesn't. She has 6 cards, none of them is a spell, so we have to do this again. And now she's got a spell. She's got 3 spells, as a matter of fact. Okay, so she's good to go. Okies. Sees Okay, so we need to also consult the actual rule book, because that's what this is about. Looking at the rule book, and on page 5 it tells us how to draw the starting hand. Oh, if you didn't at least draw one matching card, set aside your hand and draw again. You don't mulligan. Yeah, okay, we don't have cohort, so that's fine. Okay, so the first turn. This section walks you through the steps of a turn, detailed in your turn starting on page 6. Advance the hour. Each turn begins when you advance the hour, which means discarding the top card of the hourglass into the blessing discards. The hourglass is primarily the timer of the game. If someone goes to advance the hourglass and there are no cards left, the party loses the scenario. Okay, so we're going to do this now. And we get the blessing benefaction. When this is the hour, no effect. Okay, so it's fine, no effect. Okay, good. So no effect. The hourglass blah. Give a card, move and explore. You have the option of giving a card to another local character, meaning a character at your location. We're all at the same location. Then you may move or to a distant location, meaning a different location. For this intro, don't do either of those things on the first turn, just explore. You do this by turning over the top card of your location and encountering it. It will be either a boon or a bane. If you happen to find the villain on the first encounter of the intro game, shuffle it back into the deck. It's a porcupine. That's an ally, so that's a boon. On a local check against an animal monster, recharge to add 1d8. Oh, that's cool. Wisdom, Fortitude, Survival. So let's see. She's got 4 cards. She can recharge this to move. You may not use this power during an encounter. Discard to explore. This exploration on your first check. Add 1d4. Super. On another character's check, discard to bless, to avenge, discard to explore. Okay. Okay, so we could basically acquire or befriend, I guess, this porcupine by using Fortitude or Survival Wisdom. Okay, so her Wisdom is 1d6 plus 2. Her Fortitude is 1d8 plus 1. So we're going to try this and see. Maybe we can befriend a porcupine. And we did it. 4 plus her 1 on Fortitude is enough, so she takes it into... What does she do? Does she take it into her hand? Read encountering a card on page 8. When you encounter a card, you must attempt to acquire it. If it's a boon or defeat it, no one else can perform these steps for you, though others might be able to play cards to help you deal with the encounter's challenges. During each step, characters may play only cards or use only powers that relate to that step or that relate directly to cards played or powers used in that step. If a character power applies when a specific thing happens, you may use it each time that happens. Otherwise, you may use each power no more than once per step. Each character may play any number of cards, but collectively the party may play no more than one of each type of boon. Powers that can be played freely do not count towards this limit. For example, if Amiri plays a weapon on a check, Valeros may play a weapon on that check only if it can be played freely. Characters may not play cards or use powers between these steps. If the card is immune, it isn't. So, So once we've done all of this, we attempt the check. Most cards you encounter require you to attempt a check. See attempting a check on page 11. Okay, so we're on page 9, so we now need to... Okay, so I don't like the way they're structuring the rules. This is terrible. Determine which skill you're using, determine the difficulty, play cards and use powers that affect your check. Characters may now play cards or use powers that affect your check. Some powers may allow you to, for example, Linny can activate a power on her Wild Whisperer roll to roll a d10 instead of her strength, dexterity, or constitution. Assemble your dice, roll the dice. So I guess you just take it into your hand. And she could use this to, she could discard this card to keep exploring, which is what we're going to do. So we discard the porcupine. And what it tells us is discard to explore. If the first card you encounter is a monster, you may recharge this card instead. So we're going to play this card. We're going to take a look, and it is Life Drain. It's a spell. So we're going to put this aside because we can't recharge it because this is a spell that we're getting. I'm going to do this differently. So in order to get this, we would have to pass an Intelligence Arcane or Wisdom Divine check. And she has she has intelligence, but not enough. So let's see if she can help her. Banish to examine the top 3 cards during recovery, no. On a local check against a monster, no. If proficient, discard this card. You may succeed in an Arcane 9 check to recharge it instead. Force Missile, nope. Elixir of Energy Resistance, nope. And Horizon. On a local check, discard to bless. After the hour's level, if the hour's level is 0, which it is, you may recharge instead. So how does blessing work? Let's check. I hope that they have a bless. A type of boon card. See blessing on page 23. Bless. Or add a die that matches your skill die to a check. See bless on page 12. Okay, so let's see. When a power blesses your check, it adds 1 additional die of the type determined by the skill you're using. If it blesses your check twice, it adds 2 dice, and so on. So if you're using a strength d10 and you bless twice, you roll 3d10. Okay, we'll try that. So she could use her Wisdom Divine. Okay, that's a d6. Or intelligence, which is also a d6. So we're going to use intelligence and use 2d6, and we're looking for 7 because she gets a second one for the horizon, and she gets an 8, which is enough, so she gets the Life Drain spell. And since the actual hour is 0, we get to recharge. Sione gets to recharge this card. So and we're going to play the horse, and we're going to explore again. And this adds a d4 to our next check. It's a flame staff. It's an arcane divine staff, magic, attack, fire thing. It's an item. So she has divine. She doesn't, and she hasn't got arcane, so she's going to use, well, she can't actually get it. Yeah, because it's not intelligence or wisdom, it's just arcane or divine, so she can't really do anything with it, so it just goes away. And the horse goes away too, and now she's got 4 cards in her hand, and it's the end of her turn. So now it's Sione. Sione is going to advance the hour, and it's Torag's power. When this is the hour, when you would discard a boon to bless a strength or constitution check, you may recharge it instead. That's nice. So she gets the magic chain shirt, constitution, fortitude, She has Constitution D6. She cannot really get it. Let me see. Display. While displayed, when you suffer combat damage, you may recharge to reduce it by 3. This is really nice. We want this. We want it. But we can't get it because we don't have the right cards. Banished to examine during recovery. During recovery. Okay, we can't... Oh, well, we could try benefaction. What does benefaction actually tell us? It tells us that on another character's check, discard to bless. Okay, so does this not work on a local check? Oh yeah, that's still okay, local. Okay, so this one would work even if Sione was at a different location, because it's on another character, but the one that she played only works at that same location. So it did work for Amiri. Okay, so she's going to bless this check. So Constitution Fortitude is a D6. And let's see if we rolled a 9, which is good, so she gets the chain shirt. And can she explore again? No, she can't, but she also has 6 cards. So we've just, let's see, encountering a card, attempting a check, playing a card. Okay. So, what happens once you're done? Okay. End your turn. During this step will reset, so no matter how many cards you played, you'll end up with the same number of cards you started with. See end your turn on page 6. I can already see that the rules are terribly written. Playing cards, end your turn. First, apply any effects that happen at the end of your turn. While you do this, if a power directed you to end your turn, you may not play cards and use powers. Then, if you have any cards in your recovery pile, do whatever they say to do during... What's a recovery pile? Okay, it's bold. Recovery pile. And recovery pile. A pile into which you place cards you play by banishing that have recovery powers. What? A pile into which you place cards that you play by banishing. Huh? See banish on page 7. What? Okay. Most cards you banish return to the vault, shuffled in with other cards of the same type. However, if you would banish a card you played that has a during recovery power, instead set it aside in a recovery pile. Okay. Banish to examine the top 3 cards of your location. That's the only thing they do. If proficient, discard this card. You may succeed at an arcane or divine 9 check to recharge it instead. On your check to recharge an arcane spell, you automatically succeed. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's see. See, resetting page 14. I mean, this is terribly badly split up across, like, do the following whenever you're instructed to reset. First, apply any effects, blah. Then, if you have more cards in your hand than your hand size specifies, you must discard until the number... Oh, you discard them. That's interesting because in Apocrypha, you recharge them. Okay. Okay, alrighty. Okay, good. So she's done. So next up we advance the hour. Pharasma's knowing. When this is the hour, on your check against the undead, add 1d6. Glorious Warhammer, not quite undead. Strength melee d6. Strength melee 10. Oh, actually she should have... Oh no, she played the blessing. So that's a d12 for her. Plus 2. And we didn't get it. We got a 3. So this goes away. She can't do anything, so now we reset. We draw up to her hand size. Next up is Sione. And it's the benefaction. When this is the hour, there is no effect. So she explores and she gets the bandit. That's the story bane. Powers. Before acting, recharge a card. Okay, we need to recharge a card. So we're going to recharge the magic eye because we don't really need to see what the next 3 cards are because there are only like 2 left and we know what the top one is. It's combat or banish a random boon. We could banish a boon. So we could actually banish this card because it actually just goes into our recovery pile. Or we could try and combat him. So let's see. For your combat check, you may discard a card or recharge a spell. No, sorry. You may discard a card to use arcane plus 2d4 plus the card's level and add the attack, force and magic traits. Aha. Super. We're going to play Force Missile. And this is now where all of this is coming together. So first of all, we use the arcane ability, which is a d12 in her case. Arcane gives her plus 2. So this guy is already at 7. Because we're looking at a 9 in total, but she already has 2. So he's got a 7 that we need to beat. So we've got a d12. And we played this card, so we're going to get 2d4. Like so. And we're going to roll. So we're looking for 7. And we made it. We just about made it. So we've got a 3, a 2, and a 2. So that's 7. So this one is now one of the ones that has a during recovery ability. So we put it here because she has played it, but it's now in the recovery pile. And we hit this guy. So if undefeated or evaded, bury the bottom card of your deck. But we did defeat him. And he is the bandit. So he is the story. He's the big guy, isn't he? He's the terrible person. Okay, so he's now going to try and escape. So we've just encountered the villain. And let's see how they deal with this. Villain step. Check to see whether the villain escapes. If you defeated a villain, close the villain's location. You do not need to fulfill the close requirements. So we're going to close the caravan site. Oh, it doesn't have a close. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so we've just closed the caravan site. Which means this card goes away and it would have been the barrier. So now... check to see whether the villain escapes. If any locations are unguarded, we've got 2, the villain escapes. If you defeated the villain, count the number of unguarded locations, subtract 1 and retrieve that number of random blessings from the vault. Yeah, we're just going to take one of these because there is no vault. So we're just going to do it like this. I really have no idea which one is which, so I'm going to put it in here. Okay, so that was that. So now he's somewhere else. And then we're going to if the villain has nowhere to escape, he does. Okay, good. So now it's the reset phase, the recovery phase. So she has 1 in the recovery pile, which she can recover. And the way this works is, if proficient, discard this card. You may succeed at an Arcane 6 check. She does that automatically to recharge it instead. So it goes underneath her pile. So, and then she has to draw up to her hand size, which is 6. And she's done that. And now it is Amiri, and Amiri now needs to move, and we're going to go to the campsite. Why are we going to the campsite? Because we can. At the location, at the end of your turn, you may heal a card. Ooh, to close or guard. Why does she have no discard pile? That's odd, isn't it? Well, never mind. At the end of your turn, you may heal a card. To close or guard, choose 3 different types of boons, then recharge a boon of each type. Okay, super. So Amiri is now going to advance the hour. And it is Abada's Law. When this is the hour, on your check to close or to guard, add 1d4. Woohoo! I'm beginning to feel that this game is a lot less terrifying than the Wrath of the Righteous. Oh, and we encounter a henchman proxy, which means we now get to meet the dire wolf. It cannot be evaded, and damage is increased by 1d4. And does it say anything about encountering henchmen? See Storybanes on page 22. Defeating a closing henchman. Well, he's not a closing henchman, I'm afraid. Okay, so we're just going to have to deal with him. So he's got combat or survival. Our survival is 1d6 plus 2, and our combat is 1d12 plus 2. So on your strength check or your check against a monster, you may bury a card from your hand to discard to add your fortitude skill. Choosing your location does not prevent closing your location does not prevent you from exploring. Okay, at the end of your turn you may move and a local character may move with you. We're going to play the battle axe. And for your combat check, reveal to use strength or melee. So we're going to use strength, d12, melee, plus 2. So this one's now down to 10. And 1d8. And what we could do is no, we're not going to do this. Oh, we didn't make it. We rolled a 5. So now we can use the chain shirt. Display. While displayed, when you suffer combat damage, you may recharge it to reduce it to 0. When you suffer any damage, you may bury it to reduce it to 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bury this card and reduce the damage we're getting to 0, because we would be taking quite a lot, actually. But it means the henchman proxy gets shuffled back into the deck. So she now gets to redraw, and she's done essentially with her turn. So now it's the spellcaster Sione, which we incitation. When this is the hour, no effect. So we're gonna draw. And we're going to get her weapon. Strength melee. She can't even attempt. She can attempt the strength check, but she won't make it. So we're just not going to bother. Can she explore again? Nope, she can't. Okay, no, there's nothing she can do, so it's now back to Sione, so to Amiri, so she draws a card. Aurori's Mastery. On your blessed check, you may reroll any dice showing a 1. Fox, an ally. Wisdom, survival. So she gets a d6 plus 2, so we're looking at a 3 on a d6. And she gets it. And the fox reads, on a local intelligence or wisdom check, recharge to add 1d4. Discard to explore. In this exploration, on your intelligence and wisdom checks, add 1d4. So we're going to discard it to explore, and we meet the bandit, the story bane. So he's the big bad. Before acting, recharge a card. We are going to recharge the life drain because we can't use it anyway. Then we are going to play the battle axe. So we use strength, melee, plus a d8. So he's now down to 7. And then we're going to play a prayer. On any check, discard to bless. And we're going to add a d12. And we rolled a 9, a 13. That's enough. So he is defeated. We take this back and the fox is discarded. But he will now, of course, end up going into the other, because this location is now closed. He's going to go into the other location. When we close a location, encountering a villain. So Alice's turn. Villain. Oh God. Rebuilding after the scenario card types. I think we've advanced too far. Villain step blah. Okay, so we know that there is a dire wolf in here, so everything gets banished except him. Which is grand, because it's like 3 other monsters and Boots. So we know that he's in here. So we draw up to our hand size, it's 4, and now we know that we're going to encounter the dire wolves. So now it's Sione, and she draws Nether's Duality. On your check against a spell, it's not going to happen, add a d4. Oh, she can actually heal a card, which she's going to do. So healing is just you draw 1 random card and you shuffle it back into your deck. Because she can. Because that's the ability of this particular campsite, of this particular location. So now we encounter, woo, who would have thought, the dire wolf. So, yes, survival 6. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen, darling. So what we're gonna do is we are going to play Charisma, Arcane. And I can discard a card to use Arcane plus 2d4 plus the card's level and add the attack, force and magic traits. This counts as playing an arcane spell. Nope. So we're going to discard this card. We're going to discard the soothing word to add 2d4. Okay, so this is, we need 10. I'm not convinced. And of course we don't make it, or we get 8. So what we've got is we've got the magic chain shirt, display. When you suffer any damage, you may... Oh, I don't know how displaying works. Do you have to do this? Can you do this anytime? Okay, that's fine. So you can do it, and I will just bury it to reduce it to 0. So this card is now buried, which means I can't use it or retrieve it during this round, and the thing survives. And this one is discarded. Okay, but she gets to heal 1 card because it's the end of her turn and she's at the caravan site, at the campsite, sorry. So Amiri is going to try this again, because we have to kill it. There is no other way. On your check against an outsider card. No, it's not an outsider. Okay, so we'll see what we can do. So first of all, we're going to... Okay, so... Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to play the soldier, which gives us 1d4 on local melee checks. We're going to use the battle axe. It's interesting that this dire wolf is more difficult to beat than the main story bane. And we're going to use this battle axe and we're going to reveal it to get the d12 plus the d8. And we're going to, in addition, discard it to add another d8. And hopefully, we will kill this guy. 6, 7, 10, 13. Yeah, that's enough. And we have +2, so it's 15 over 12. That's enough. Okay, so the... So we recharge this card, and then we're going to get to heal 1 card. Oh, sorry. First of all, we have to choose 3 different boons, which we don't have. Because we only have 2 cards, so we can't close it. So we take 1 random card. Okay, so. Now what does this mean? Amiri is going to move. She can do this, and she's going to move to the other one. And we are actually not going to close this. Or are we? No. Okay, so she's going to move. That's fine. Sione's going to draw, and we're running out of omens, or out of... when you would discard a boon to bless a dexterity or charisma check, you may recharge it instead. Okay, so now we're going to choose 3 boons and we're going to recharge them. So we're going to recharge an ally, we're going to recharge an item, and we're going to recharge a spell. And This means we've closed the campsite. We draw up to our hand size, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. Amiri is now at the trail. The difficulty of checks to defeat is increased by the number of distant characters, so in this case it's 1. So, well, this is the hour. When you would discard a boon, yeah. So she needs to advance the hour. Or was it like twice the same? Yeah, no. Yeah, it was. So we've got, oh, that's terrible. We're gonna lose. Gonna time out. Here's the henchman proxy, the dire wolf. And that's gonna be a hoot and a half because now it's at 13. And we have no weapon. Oh, we do. Okay, so first of all, we've got a warhammer. So we've got a D12. Plus a D8. And then we're going to check. On a local check against an animal monster, which this is, we can recharge the porcupine to get a D8. That's Brill. And then we are going to, on your strength check or your check against a monster, you may bury a card from your hand and add your fortitude skill. What does this do again? Yeah. And we're going to get another D8. Oh no, fortitude skill. That's a D8 plus 1. Okay. So, this guy is at 13 because we've got 1 distant character. Then we have plus 1 for our fortitude and plus 2 for our melee, so he's down to 10. And we made it. So we killed the dire wolf. And this goes back into our hand, but we cannot now do anything else. We cannot keep exploring. So, okay, so now it's Sione. Sione advances the hour 1 more time. She moves here. And she starts exploring. Torga's power. Strength divine. She doesn't have divine, but she has strength. And she makes it on a 4. Super. Okay, so let's see. She has plenty of blessings, so she could actually... On a local, discard to examine the top card of your location, then shuffle the location, then you may explore. No. Discard to explore. Okay, so we're going to explore, and it's a rat swarm. Vulnerable to attack. If defeated by less than 4, shuffle this monster into its location. Oh, crap. Okay. Okay. Yes. Well, first of all, D12. You may discard a card. We're going to discard... What does the quarterstaff do? For your combat check, reveal to use strength or melee. If you add, you may additionally discard to add another card. To discard to add another D6. So we have 2d6 1d4 plus 1d6. We get 2d6s under d4. Or we discard it to get a d12 plus 2. Yeah. And we made it with a 10, so 12, so that's good. The rat swarm. Oh, if it is defeated by less than 4, which it is, oh god, it goes back into the... Terrible. Okay, next up, Sage. Sacred Candle, Wisdom Divine. Yeah, we can forget about this. We can never make it. Incantation. Rat Swarm. Oh. Okay. D12. Oh, I forgot the... No, I did get the plus the... Oh, I forgot to roll the 2d4, didn't I? Yeah, earlier. So I'm just going to do it now. And it was a 4, so this one actually goes away. So yeah, that was my bad. So don't need to do it. So it's a Razor Snare. It's a barrier. Dexterity, acrobatics, disable, survival. If undefeated, suffer the scourges, entangled and wounded, then end your turn. Oh my word. Oh. Dexterity is d6. Acrobatics she doesn't have. Disable she doesn't have. Survival. She doesn't have that either. Okay, so, okay. Yeah, we've lost the game now, but we're still going to play. Yeah, so we roll 2d6. Yeah, 7. We made it, so it goes away. But she can draw up to 6 cards, but that's all she can do. Because there is no timer left. So that was the end of the game. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Yeah, and that was the Teach Yourself How to Play the Pathfinder Adventure card game using the Quick Start rules. And that's all from me for tonight. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.